You are engaging in the ELA Guidebooks Unit, Olympics. The purpose of this video is to help you to understand more about the training process that athletes go through in order to be ready to compete at the Olympics. Be sure you have your handout and something to write with for this video. Think of some of the famous Olympic athletes that you are familiar with. Gabby Douglas is an Olympic gymnast. Michael Phelps is a gold medalist in swimming. Usain Bolt is well known for his track record. And Mia Hamm played for the U.S. women's soccer team. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to be an Olympic athlete? What would a day in the life of an Olympian look like? Training to be an Olympic athlete begins when the athlete qualifies for an Olympic team. According to the official Olympic website, the athlete must be 15 years of age by the end of the year of the actual games. So, a child can be training for the Olympics at 11 years of age. Some athletes train for a minimum of 8 years before making it to the Olympics. Each athlete and sporting event is different for training, but a majority of their days are spent training in some shape or form. Would you ever believe that eating and sleeping are also part of an athlete's training? An athlete's diet and food intake has to keep up with their training. Their bodies are burning more than a normal person's amount of calories, and they require more calories to sustain their athletic performance. Most professional athletes track their macronutrients, which is the amount of protein, carbohydrates, and fats that they consume in a day. Michael Phelps once said in an interview that caloric intake was realistically somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 per day. A normal diet consists of about 2,000 calories a day. Another part of training includes sleeping. Athletes need at least 8 hours of sleep. Athletes need to allow their bodies to rest in order to optimize their training and reset for the following day. Sleep is just as important as the actual training is. Now you are ready to think about the training process that Olympic athletes go through. Answer the question on your handout at the first stop sign. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to continue. Let's review. Your answers may include: physically training for the sport would take up most of your time each day. After all, these professional athletes, training is their job. Athletes typically spend the same amount of time training as people spend at their jobs each day. Nutrition is also a part of an athlete's training program, as well as sleeping at least 8 hours each night. Let's take a closer look at Simone Biles' background as a young Olympic athlete. Simone started competing in gymnastics at 6 years old. She started training with a professional coach when she was 8 years old. She started homeschool before she got into high school in order to increase her training time to 32 hours a week, with one rest day per week. Wow, talk about dedication. Another Olympic medalist is Aly Raisman. Her daily schedule looks something like this. She eats, does gymnastics, and sleeps. She also does an ice bath as a form of recovery for her muscles. Sticking to strict schedules helps the athletes to be consistent in their training. Olympians are not born overnight. Some professionals believe that an average Olympic medalist will have dedicated over 10,000 hours to their training before they ever see an Olympic stage. Physically training for the Olympics will look a lot different for each sport and for each athlete. Each athlete has goals they are working toward. An important part of being a professional athlete is to be well-rounded in strength, talent, technique, and cardio abilities. That means athletes have to spend time training each of these aspects. Even though these individuals are professional athletes, they still have coaches to help keep them on track with their goals and to help hold them accountable in training their weaknesses. Now you are ready to think about how your daily schedule is similar to and different from those who are professional Olympic athletes. Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at the second stop sign. When you are ready to continue, please press play. Let's review. Your answers may include that some similarities are: students and athletes eat 3 meals a day and maybe a snack too. Students may have practices in the evenings after school around 5 p.m. A noticeable difference is a professional athlete is physically training for most of their day, whereas students are in school for most of their day. Olympic athletes set goals at an early age to go to the Olympics, so most of their life is dedicated to becoming an Olympic athlete. Their families, as well as the athlete, make sacrifices in order to reach their goals. Olympic athletes have to be determined and persevere through failures, even on their tough days. You have learned about training for the Olympics. As you read the text in the ELA Guidebooks Unit, Olympics, you will use this knowledge to understand the commitment athletes have to make to compete at the Olympic Games. When you finish this video, be sure to turn in your completed handout to your teacher.